like an insane crit damage circle beyond a natural 5-star, but Flower and Feather take a flat stat right off the menu with their main stat and take the main stat gamble out of it, just ensuring that these are more likely to be used. Then, Mora cost. I would envision these being way more expensive to level than a regular artifact the entire way through. I would say like around like 1 to 2 million more to go from 0 to 24, you know, just something to make it a little bit more prestigious. And of course, I do not envision them making the game more difficult to account for you having this and actually being rolled well. No. It would just be extra power on top of the difficulty of the game is, again, leaning more towards power fantasy and just giving up on the idea of Genshin being a super challenging game, because I don't think it's ever going to happen. That being said, this would not be an honest opinion of mine if I didn't say that, well, the game does need more endgame. Look, it doesn't need to be super challenging. It doesn't need to be like Spiral Abyss but on roids, or just more floors of Spiral Abyss. I don't really think a lot of people would want that. Most of us likely just want more to do. Star Rail did that with something like Pure Fiction. That is, in my opinion, by no means harder than Memory of Chaos, but it is just something else to do, and it also rewards other types of characters. That part isn't exactly really going to translate to Genshin very well, because Spiral Abyss already does that. Sometimes we have more AoE ones, sometimes we have more single target ones. We just don't have that problem like Star Rail did. We have had so many different events that have had really nice combat templates, giving us like roguelite buffs, where, you know, our characters get stronger along the way. Give us buffs that the Spiral Abyss or nothing else will ever give us, like an insane amount of attack speed, ridiculous energy regeneration, cooldown reduction even in some cases. Would turning that into like a weekly or bi-weekly feature take away from the events a little bit? Yeah, a little bit. Would it matter? Yeah, I don't think so. I think the gain is worth the loss in that case. And while this isn't really officially endgame and it doesn't actually impact much, is add more world levels. I've said it before, I'll say it again, and I will continue to say it until it finally happens. I just don't want the Abyss and maybe a couple domains to be the only place where monsters will live long enough to do like anything on them. The option is already there to decrease it. If people don't like that increased difficulty, you don't have to add any insane rewards for it. You know, just maybe a little bit more Mora, maybe a little bit better drop rate, stuff like that. And hell, even if it is a little too difficult for, you know, the everyday person standards as well, co-op is there. Finally, something else to encourage co-op. And while I mentioned co-op is definitely one of the things that improving upon that significantly could drastically improve the game, but that is so much harder to do. When I mentioned permanent events earlier, you know, once you could go back and replay, that already helps co-op. You know, if something like Wind Trace or Theater Mechanicus, various summer minigames, stuff like that, you know, those are pretty popular co-op events. If they were available all the time, sure, the matchmaking may be pretty brutal in some cases, but you know, you can always find people most likely. Pre-made groups are a thing, and I'm sure a lot of people will be doing that, just killing time. And that is my list. Feel free to crap on them in the comments below.
How do I know if I'm in a toxic relationship?
Ooh, communication is so fucking important in any kind of relationship. Are we actually giving good advice?
That's great advice. What? How do I deal with a racist uncle at Christmas dinner?
The dichotomy.
Welcome back to another episode of Trash Taste. I'm your host, Connor. Once again, joined by the boys, Joey and Gaunt. And today our content producer has given us yet another content idea for this episode.
What are we doing, Connor?
What are we doing? Connor, what have you done to Trashbox? No! You've killed him.
He's okay. In here is some questions, some advice-seeking questions, some generic ones.
Okay.
Yeah.
And we'll discuss potential answers are, you know, what we think.
Wait, we are giving life advice?
We are not supposed to give life advice because we have some of the worst life advice in general.
We need to make sure the title of this says bad life advice.
We give
This is the worst life advice podcast you could possibly ask for.
You know, I wouldn't take the advice of some YouTubers who've been in YouTube for 10 plus years because they've done nothing else with their life. But if you do want to, if you do want to listen to us for advice, we're going to give you our shit advice on this episode.
But you should definitely not follow.
All right, I'll pull one out, shall I?
All right, pull one out, Connor. What do
This
we
is
got?
packed. Oh my God. I can't,
Is there this many fucking things people need to know about?
I guess so.
They're dying to hear outtakes on it for sure.
I pulled one out. How do I survive karaoke night when I can't sing?
Okay, well,
I mean, that's easy, I feel.
is that easy?
What's your answer?
Joey, you can sing, so
No,
you
no,
don't get a say in this.
But this is exactly why I know, because I've been to people who like going to karaoke, but they don't like singing.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
And a lot of people, especially in Japan, like going because they just enjoy the atmosphere, right? Of just like seeing everyone have fun.
Yeah.
Right? If I had to give bad life advice, drink a shitload.
I would argue that's great advice.
That's great life advice, actually.
Because if you're drunk enough, then you will, like, because I've had a lot of people who I've gone to karaoke with in like big groups, right?
Yeah.
And there's always that one person who's always like really shy, you know, to sing or whatever. We actually had that at the company party last time because we booked the karaoke room. And obviously, when you're starting off, right, there's only like the couple of, you know, confident people who are like, yeah, fuck it, you know, I'll start singing some songs. And then everybody else is just like, oh, wait, you know, you guys just go have fun. I'm just enjoying the time. You give them a couple of drinks and they're like, give me the fucking microphone.
Yeah, but the thing with Joey is like the karaoke Chad. I know when I go with Joey, like we're like in the room for like 0.1 seconds, and he was like, okay, I'm already loading up the song, and he's that motherfucker who has like 3 songs in a row. And the amount of times I've been to karaoke and it's like 2 hours in, and your voice is shot, and you put on 3 songs in a row, and somehow you power through it.
Yeah.
And
I just really enjoy
karaokeing.
karaoke.
Is about picking a song and be like, will you join me? Will you help me with this one?
Yeah.
Just having a romance.
The other advice is like pick a song that you know everybody will know, even if you can't sing it, because at that point everybody will know the song. So even if they're not holding the microphone, they're probably going to be screaming it anyway.
okay, what's that song then? Come on. This is the hardest thing I have to figure out.
September.
September, yeah. No one knows. No one can sing that, but everybody tries.
No, hitting those high notes is hard, but everyone is gonna have a good time.
Yeah. Or like any like, you know, you kind of, what I do is I kind of take a gauge on like, all right, what is the average age of the people who are here, and then I pick a song from kind of that era that you might not know all the words necessarily, but you at least heard.
Have you done karaoke with like 2 generations difference?
Oh yeah. I've been to karaoke with my mom and my grandma.
Oh, that sounds awesome.
Time, which is great, right? Because like my grandma does like all the old like Enka songs, like from like the 60s and stuff. My mom does all of like the kind of city poppy style like 80s songs, and then meanwhile I'm here singing Asian Kung Fu Generation, and my grandma's like, "This is a song."
See, what I've realized is that some of like the obvious karaoke songs aren't as big of like a hit. There's a sweet spot. Like for example, if I put on Wonderwall by Oasis, everyone knows Wonderwall by Oasis, right? Yeah. Everyone knows the words, but people aren't as like passionate about it.
You know what's the one song that you might think is the obvious answer, but is actually kind of an awkward time? Bohemian Rhapsody.
That's awful.
That's awful. Yeah.
Everybody knows the song, but no one can sing it.
Yeah.
And it's too many like shifts and everything like that. Like it's fun to listen to, but when you're in a karaoke setting where like you don't have that one person who's like, I'm gonna fucking nail Bohemian Rhapsody.
Yeah.
You put it on and everyone's just looking around being like, all right, who's gonna do this one?
The only time I don't like karaoke is when there's someone who can't sing, but they're like trying to like seriously sing. And I'm like, oh.
Really? I find that endearing.
I'm like, well, it depends if I suppose the attitude of the person as well. Like if they think that like they're great.
Oh, they're being cocky about it?
And I'm like,
okay, yeah, that's a little. Yeah.
Whereas I'm just the opposite. I sound awful. I'm like, sorry guys, you listen to this.
No, but like I don't know. I like it when someone who is not necessarily like good at singing actually just, you know.
No. I'm not saying if you're a bad singer, don't do it. But it's like when people are like, hey guys, it's my moment now.
Yeah, because if karaoke, if there's one thing that is like universally true with karaoke, it's like no one gives a fuck if you can sing well, right? Like even if you're like the best singer in
actually, I give a fuck.
What, really?
Yeah. Okay. Because, you know, sometimes, so every karaoke session has a different vibe, okay? Sometimes I kind of like it when everyone is as shit as me.
Yeah, because I want everyone to be bad.
Because there are some